Okay, so we just booked this appointment right here, and we knew that it could not book here, and the next options were on Tuesday, and so it said, hey, I can go from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. or from 3 p.m. on, kind of calculating that drive time in there. And so the customer in our example obviously wanted bright and early. We saw that schedule beforehand, so we knew that it was going to be a very packed schedule for that team. But let's go figure out what that diagnostic call at 7 a.m. is going to be. So what we're going to do is we're going to head over into the estimates. Now this estimate automatically was created. All right, so I'm going to change this date range to come into just the ones that we did. Go from like today's Sunday, so I'm going to do that 11th. There we are. Go into it, and so here is our estimates. Right now, when we're looking at this estimate, we're going to see a lot of detail. Nothing's happened yet, right? It's brand new. The technician hasn't been to the house yet. It's still Sunday night. It's not Monday morning. And so it's empty on purpose, right? It's empty because it's associated with that appointment. If I go down here, I can see that diagnostic call right there, but we don't even have a title because we don't know what it is yet. It's just a draft estimate helping that technician with that much more, so they don't have to sit there and do it. They just have to flow through and fill out the estimate when they get on the job. So in our imaginary example of Wasatch Pro Plumbing on this diagnostic call with noise in the pipes, let's say that technician shows up and he finds out that there's roots going into the main sewer line, and that's what's causing all the noise, is a lot of gurgling, kind of echoing throughout the entire home. So what we're going to do into here is we're going to say, and again, I'm not a plumber, so if you're a plumbing company watching this, I might get my terms wrong or anything like that. But we're gonna have to put a main line and maybe like what do they call them? Like a sheath, a cover inside of there. So we're gonna go in, clean out all the roots, and then put in that main protection line to keep the roots from getting back in. So we're gonna say like root removal. And okay, so we've got the customer name, we've got their address, we don't have the total yet, and it's already assigned to a technician, which is awesome because when they booked an appointment, it auto assigned it to that tech, so it's going to show up on their mobile app. And let's go ahead and save those changes, and let's go into the pre-job info. Now I'm going to write exactly what I just said, right? So customer has roots going into the main line, and we need to trim them. I don't know what it's called. Is it like a sheath? I'm gonna pause this while I go Google it real quick. All right, I feel like a dummy. It's just a lining. Okay, trim them and possibly put in lining. Okay, so here, this is where we're going to say it's valid until, right? So if I'm the technician, I'm out there, and I'm going to say, hey, this is valid until the end of the month. And we could get started as early as I can have another crew come out, probably get there on Wednesday. Going to take us about 4 hours total time, and then any scheduling notes. So if I talk to the customer, I'm out there, and the customer is like, hey, this isn't going to... I've got work in the morning, or I can't do it at this time, or whatever. This is where we put all that information. Okay, so we've got the customer information right here. We've got the property information and any special access instructions, garage code, gate access code. Maybe they live in a gated community, how to get through the gated community, anything like that. Now, let's go ahead and save those changes again. And you don't have to save in between these tabs. I just like to save often. Okay, so now this is the scoping and pricing. So technician's been at the home. He's investigated and said, okay, you know what? We are going to do some work, and we're going to need to add a service. Maybe we're going to add some product, equipment, add a fee, or a custom item here. And so when I add a service, what this is going to do is automatically pull over from your price book, so you can pull in everything that you do, and we're going to say sewer camera inspection was done. And if you have a price to that, it'll auto pull that in. But I'm just going to put $110 there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a custom line item here, and I'm going to say root removal. Maybe we charge another $215 to get the machine out to start going in, cutting all those roots. And then, so sewer camera inspection, root removal, and then what we're gonna do here is, we talked about that liner, right? So main line installation, and that might be $250. Okay, like I said, I'm not a plumber, so if these prices are wrong, I apologize. Please forgive me. Okay, so now we've got our, like, hey, this is what we could do for the customer. But they might want just the root removal and not the main liner, right? And so what we're gonna do is create some packages. And that package might be something like we'll call it quick fix. And then we're gonna remove that mainline installation, and then quick fix to stop the noise in your pipes. We're gonna go ahead and create that. Now I'm gonna add another package here, and I'm gonna say the long-term solution here, and I'm gonna make that the recommended package as well. Long-term solution. Keep your pipes healthy and free of debris. Okay, so free of debris. Go ahead and create that. Now what we can see is we got long-term solution and quick fix. Now let's go head over to the offer section. Now the offer section is really cool because when you're giving an estimate, right, you don't want it to just feel like, hey, here's your bill, right? Here, I'm just gonna slap this on you. What we want is them to feel like, holy cow, I'm getting something out of this, right? I'm not just getting my problem solved, but I'm getting reassurance, I'm getting, I'm gaining from this experience, not just recovering what I've already lost. And that's what we call our offer flows. It's super powerful. And so when you come into the intro cover, this is where we can type it in, and we're going to write something like root removal and pipe repair. And then you can add a nice intro message or an urgency. And then if we want a background image, then we totally can do that. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to go to Pexels, stock image site here. I'm just going to do a home randomly. All right, imagine, this in Lehi, Utah, which is obviously not Lehi, but I'm gonna grab here. Thanks for the photo, and come up here and upload the image. There we go. Okay. Now, this is the cool part. On the scope and options, this is where we can decide, you know what? It's a simple thing. I just want them to see the line item. Well, then don't show them the packages, right? We didn't need to do that on our scope and pricing over here. We didn't need to add these packages in here. But to give them options and to give us the best chance of collecting the most amount of revenue, we're going to show them those packages, right? So we're going to go ahead and save that. Now, when we come down here for an approval, this is where we can say, you know what? As long as they give us an e-signature, we're good to go. Or I want to make them sign an actual agreement. So that way, if they decide not to pay, I have something. I have a little, contract here. So you'd be able to select an agreement there. Now, on your payments, I need to connect a payment processor here. But what you'd be able to do in this section is actually say, hey, I want a deposit of 10% or $100 or whatever it is to approve the work, to get us to come out. You have to do a deposit. Or, you know what, signature is good enough. We don't need an agreement, just an e-signature on there saying that you approve this estimate is good. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and click save. Now, if we want to do customer messages, customer notes, any photos, videos, if we actually had like a video of the camera going around so we could see the roots coming into the pipe, this is where we would upload that there. And then if we want to create a job automatically after approval, we just toggle that on and off. And we could go ahead and send this by email, copy the share link, or come up here, which we will eventually do in a minute. I just want to show you these other two tabs real quick. So if we look at the internal notes, this is for your internal team, right? Anything you want to add, any internal files, photos, stuff you want to capture, and then any activity, this is going to capture exactly what happened. And in the account that I'm logged into as Nate Walker, it shows everything that was done. So customer information, when they approve the estimate, everything will start showing up here as well. Okay, so I'm going to come up into these actions, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the share link, right? Now I'm going to mark it as sent, so then our system knows I delivered it to the customer, but it would auto mark it as send if you send them the offer, and that could auto email them out, or you can just preview it or share the link here. Now obviously if you're in the office, you're going to be emailing it out to them, but if you're that technician, you can just show them right there, text it to them in the mobile app, email it to them and say, hey, it should be in your email, have them open it up. But let's go in and see what that looks like. Okay, so that customer, when they pull that up, whether it's on their computer or their phone, this is what they're going to see. So that background image, whether that's their home, whether it's the project that you're working on, makes it feel custom, makes it feel like you built this just for them because you did. And how many steps there are up here, if there's a plan associated with it or anything like that, that's going to show up here as well. So right here, kind of pulls up that customer roots growing into the main line, root removal and pipe repair. It's going to show those two options, one recommended, one quick fix, the different price points, the different line items, and then whatever one they select, it's going to have that here, or auto adjust. Now your customers can say, wait a minute, this wasn't what we talked about, and they'll be able to request changes, fill that out, and immediately keep that conversation moving, saying, hey, you told me X, but I'm looking at Y, let's figure out what's going on. Or simply, yeah, this looks great, let's continue on. So in this case, I am Jessica, I think Johnson was the last name. So example@gmail.com. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and sign that as Jessica there, agree to the terms, and I'm gonna go ahead and approve the estimate. Estimate approved. And so what that just did is, if we head back over here, we're going to see that it's now marked as approved. We have the signature so we can preview it. It's now linked to a job because we said to, and everything is all filled out, right? We can see the internal activity signed by Jessica Johnson, approved with selected package, estimate viewed, estimate updated, when it was last sent. All that information is here. So let's head over to the job and check out kind of what happens now that we've got a customer on the schedule. We did the diagnostic, they approved the estimate, now we got to get work started.